All right, here we go. Here we go. Mic's on.
Mic is on.
People, welcome. Well, guy. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Hey guys. Good news. I'm back in town.
You are back in town.
And so we have the full setup.
We have the full setup. You guys, we went super ghetto last week. You know.
We went low tech.
Last week we went acoustic. It was like acoustic evening performance.
It was an acoustic performance. That's right. We have a good show for you guys today.
We do. Let's make sure they can hear us.
Oh yeah.
I think you guys should be able to hear us just fine. We're just checking our
sound.
sound.
It shows that. Here, why don't you just turn that on for a second?
Yeah. Yep.
I can turn it up. I can turn it up if you guys need. Meanwhile, I'm gonna start looking at the comments. Guys, let us know where you're signing in from. As always, we want to see who's here.
It's always a fun game.
It's always a fun game. We know a lot of you guys sign on. Runner Geek Girl, I'm looking right at you.
Yeah.
Troy. Who else is our regulars?
Edward.
Yeah. She needs to start calling him out.
I know.
Well, first Nate and I were gone. Not last. Was that last? I can't tell.
It's been a pretty busy last 2 weeks.
Not last week. I was gone the full week. I just got back at 1 a.m. last night. And I'm very, very, very happy to be home.
Yeah.
And
missed you, buddy.
Yeah.
I know.
Me too. You know what happened is that Nate was with me for the first part of the trip. And then...
That was the fun part of the trip.
It was the fun part of it. And then he left, and I was in a hotel room by myself for a week.
It's just not fun.
It's not fun.
It's really not fun. It's like kind of traveling to a race by yourself and you don't know anyone.
You got a little rag over there on the table.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We gotta polish up those glasses there.
I need to see you guys properly.
I know, right?
Guys, I was actually live on the active.com page yesterday. Amazingly, I was in Dallas yesterday, going live right about around this time.
I know. And
I visited with active.com. I don't know if you guys know Active, but they are a registration site for races, amongst other. There are lots of registration sites, and we happen to know some of them because one of our friends used to work at Runner's World and now works in Dallas.
What up, Allie?
Yeah, what's up, Allie? And then it turns out a couple of my people from my high school actually work there. Anyhow, I went to visit them and just talk about, giving them content, and so that all of the active.com people can see some more of our videos.
It turns out it's not just you guys who like seeing our faces on camera.
Really,
it's other people as well, which is really cool to work hard at something and feel like more people want it. But it's cool just to see how long it used to take us just to do like one video, and now we have a nice system that we can just kind of crank on this stuff in kind of fun, creative ways, and all of a sudden there's a lot of other people who are interested in tapping in.
That is true.
I know. They might. Do you think they want to tap into future acoustic sets?
Less. You know what? I was
less on the acoustic sets.
We were doing our live show in Dallas, and I was like, I just want to show you like what we do, and then the latest one was the one you did.
God, let's
one.
not look at this one.
We have a full HD setup here.
We really do,
and we have a shotgun mic. We have it piped into. You guys don't really care about this, but there's a lot of like tech that has to go on to give you this crystal clear image.
It is super crystal clear.
And we stream to not just YouTube, but we stream to our Facebook page and our Facebook community group. That way we can take questions from different areas, and So, be that as it is, we're talking about spring marathon training.
Spring is in the air.
At least over here.
And at least over here. And for you guys who have signed up for a race that's say in March or April or May, I mean, let's talk about the major races that are coming around the corner. Different areas of the world.
Awesome.
The LA Marathon.
Oh yeah.
First.
Yep.
That's in March.
Yep.
We have races happening down in South Africa and Cape Town.
Yep.
We have Boston Marathon.
When is the London Marathon?
It's in April.
It's in April. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We also have Big Sur.
Right.
And we have London.
I met the Big Sur.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
And actually, when is Paris? I feel like Paris might be in the spring too.
Good question.
So there's a bunch of races happening, and a lot of you guys are training from, and we just wanted to talk about it and get your questions.
Actually, I have if in case you guys are wondering, I actually have looked up when all the major races are, and I have them in a spreadsheet.
Of course you do. Spreadsheets are fun, aren't they?
Let's see. I will tell you right now. One of the things that is interesting is, depending on where you are in the world, definitely like training during this time of the year is a different, this is the end of summer for some people. And we have a larger and larger group of TRE athletes in Australia.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because they're talking about like, the season's
it's not
ending.
the spring for them, right?
Yeah.
This is like their heyday. And in South Africa too, right? It's not the spring. It's like their longest days.
Yep.
All you southern hemisphere runners out there.
All right, would you like to know some of the March marathons? Paris actually is on the 4th of March. The Bath Marathon, Rock and Roll USA in Washington.
Yeah, we're getting
Mardi Gras.
We're getting some comments in here about
Rome. Oh, the San Diego Half Marathon.
That's coming up.
The New York City Half. That's a good race. If you guys have not wanted to do a full marathon or wanted to do a New York race, the New York City Half is actually, I run that one, and it's a fast course, and you get to see a bunch of downtown. It doesn't go through the boroughs, which is the difference.
Oh, that's right.
But it's a good course. It has part of the park in it. It starts in the park.
Yeah, our friend, our good buddy Mario is going to be going out to race that.
Is he? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fast little
individual.
guy, fast mofo.
And there's a bunch of races.
The Country Music Marathon in Nashville. That's a good one.
Oh, that is a good one.
I would like to run that one.
I'm hearing some people chime in about some rock and roll races. Let me see here.
Did you know that rock and roll used to have like 30 races and now they have 11?
Huh.
I did not know
Tightening
that.
things up.
Yeah.
Anwar is from South Africa, and he's doing the Two Oceans Marathon on March 31st.
Yep.
Super exciting. I thought I saw something about a rock and roll, but
where are you seeing all that good action on the
comments?
Comments. Let me see if I can.
I know, something around there. I thought I saw that. Maybe I just dreamed it up in my brain. But anyway, we got a lot of spring races. And depending on where you are, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, you are dealing with shorter days.
I got the hiccups.
You have the hiccups sometimes when you run.
Here you go.
Dark mornings, dark evenings, and how you balance that stuff.
Here, I'm still getting up.
Here we go. Rock and Roll Virginia Beach. That's what I was looking for.
I don't have that one on my list. I'm still getting up pretty early at like 5:20, 5:30. And it's dark when I leave, but when I come home, it's bright, which to me is perfect. The real hurt is when it's dark and then it's dark.
The entire run. Yeah, that's hard.
That makes it hard.
And you can kind of get away with it once or twice, but I think what's really hard is just doing that whole thing. I mean, how many of you guys run in the dark right now completely? And like, how do you guys do it? It's like, what do you guys do? You're totally amazing. But you're sort of signing up for that. So, right now, for those of you guys who have signed up, or even for you, and especially for you who are considering in the future, you definitely have to think about what you're signing up for the 4 months preceding the marathon, right? If you live in New England and you are training for Boston or a spring race, you are signing up for either a lot of time on the treadmill, or you are setting yourself up for like cold 15, 20-degree runs, wind, stepping in slush puddles so that your sock freezes. I'm mentioning these things because these are all things that used to happen to me. And, like my knuckles would get like chafed and cracked, and I would have this like smoker's cough.
Yeah.
Because I realized, like, what's like really cold? It seems like exhaust fumes like stick around.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was just like inhaling car exhaust through Boston, running around in snow and sled sleet. But totally worth it when you are ready to sign up.
Fit come spring. One of the things that is universal is that this is the time of year you're in February, middle of Feb. We're past the rush of doing things and like committing to things of the January New Year period. Yep. And at the same time, you're coming off the holiday period where a lot of us don't, are not as intense through our exercise. So maybe you ate a lot. Maybe you gained some weight, maybe you're a little bit more out of shape than you were, say, in October of last year. And so here starts the cycle of getting in good habits again. Like, have you done much mobility? I know for myself, like I've been on an airplane the last 10 days. My hamstrings are a
little stiff, huh?
So stiff.
Yeah.
And so tight. And so I have said to myself, I'm going to focus on my mobility in my like glute hamstring area, because what happens for me is that those get tight, and then I get an injury in my lower leg.
Yeah.
Like my Achilles will like light up, or like my calf will light up, and it's always because of that tightness.
You know, one of the other things that I do like
Well, you got a lot of people jumping
about
here.
spring races is that it's a lot of times it kind of forces us to be inside or potentially to go a little bit lower mileage.
Right.
And with that, there is an opportunity to work on some of your strength and your mobility and your injury prevention.
Yep.
You know, like that early season strength can really set a nice foundation for the rest of the year. So one of the benefits, if you find yourself doing shorter runs outside or you're in the gym and you're doing treadmill runs,
Yep.
you are not that far away from a pair of dumbbells or a kettlebell or something else like that.
Good time to do our strength program.
It is a great time to do our strength program.
We did single leg stuff this morning in the gym.
Nice.
And I was thinking of you. Single leg strength. Everybody
Gets
should
you
do
every
it.
time.
Oh man, because you don't know where the wobbles are until you put a bar on you.
I know. I like to call it super awkward fun time because it's just you don't know. Even like even the strongest athletes that I work with and coach in the gym, and some of these guys are not necessarily runners, but they can squat like 300 pounds and they're super fit. You get them on one leg and they are fish out of water, and it is its own skill set that you kind of have to develop.
So explain what single leg strength is, because if you haven't done one of our strength programs, we don't get into this that much. We do a little bit in the advanced part of the marathon training program.
It starts to build.
But the strength program we do.
We definitely do. The benefit, guys, of we want to bridge the gap, and this is important for spring marathon training to connect everything together, is that at the end of the day, we want to show up on the starting line not only feeling aerobically fit, but we want to feel like mechanically sound, and our body is strong and structured in a way that it can handle those punishing hills. It can handle that time at race pace. Early races are always tough because you haven't spent that much time at race pace yet. You haven't just done that many races yet. If you do a fall marathon, you might have already done a couple halves before, or a spring marathon. So it feels very different when you're doing the spring, and the strength is that thing that can help bridge that gap. So spending time on a single leg where you are doing some type of squat or a single leg deadlift or just a balance exercise, it forces your ankles and your hips to squirm and move around a little bit. And when it squirms and moves around, that's where we start to see all those little muscles and tendons that help stabilize the joint wake up and get really active, and it forces you to improve your balance.
Yeah,
so it can really help those spring races.
I find we were doing some jumping exercises in the gym, and I did the slow down video, and I still found that on my landing, my right knee just did a little cave in, and that single leg strength is definitely where it's at when it comes to taking out those wobbles, and then that comes into your stride.
It really does.
What are you smiling about?
This is funny. So Running Geek Girl says, my entire life is super awkward fun time.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's good.
I like that one.
I want to Runner Geek Girl. I want to know more about the geek. We know about the runner girl.
I feel like where the super awkward fun time is probably where the geek comes
there's
from.
a lot of types of geek, because you have to distinguish between nerd, geek, and dweeb. Right? Because geeks can still be cool. You can be a movie geek.
Okay.
You can be like a music geek.
Geek out on running.
You can geek out on running.
What about a running dweeb?
A nerd is I've seen some of these diagrams before, but the nerd is more smart plus some social awkwardness, and then a dweeb is just total awkwardness.
Is it a progression?
I think it's there's some overlap is what it is.
Okay. Is it geek? What's the middle one? Nerd.
Dweeb.
Is it geek?
Dweeb
nerd,
is such a 1980s term. I know that really is. Yeah. I don't know.
I know. If you're
I'm intimately familiar with these for a reason.
1980s. Yeah, right.
All right, we got some questions coming in. Let's see. I can't scroll on this. I don't understand this window.
We got a few things. LT Bucks, he's back.
Oh yeah. What's up, LT Bucks?
As long as you layer up, running the cold isn't too bad. I've started to enjoy it actually. Embracing the outside is really the best way. And you guys are tough. It's like a badge of honor. And the other thing too about the winter, it's cabin fever is a bitch. You're stuck inside. Yeah. It's cold, and getting outside and getting that fresh air is great, even if it's a little chilly. I think that's really, really good. Let's see some other comments in here.
Let's see. What strategy should you be using for a 3K race? Should I run fast and start, or run slightly slower and start, and run faster in the last meters? You should run fast the whole time, Naman. So I ran 3K in college.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The 3K is an interesting race. because it lies somewhere between, I mean, obviously it lies between your 5K pace and your mile pace, but that's a strange place to be in, because a mile, if you are a, elite track athlete, a mile is a very, very hard clip.
Yeah.
Like, you are still going pretty close to I wouldn't say all out sprint, but you are just below all out sprint. You can't do that in 3K. And so it starts to ride this line of what I think people tend to go too slow in a 3K, thinking that it's a 5K.
Interesting.
And it's not a 5K. 5K has a whole another mile and
kettle of fish,
1.2 ahead of it. So it's really your question about should I start strong or should I end. I mean, really, ideally, you want an even pace across. I mean, you're always better served by having an even pace or negative splitting.
So I've been listening to Steve Magnus's podcast, a fellow alma mater,
and
talk about running geek out. There's it's called Magnus and Marcus, guys, and if you want to geek out on like running intervals and pace recoveries from actually some of like the sharper minds in the running world,
Steve
is so great. I listened to an interview on Alan Webb on how back in 2007 when he ran a 3:46 marathon, they went through his warm-ups, his workouts, what his recovery was like, how he approached it, and really, really broke it down. They even had one on the 5,000, like the 5K on the track, how you specifically train for that and pace it. And you're absolutely right, because they mentioned the 3K too. It is one of those distances that you're going hard, but within all of these things, there is pacing that's required. Even the mile, even the 400 meter, like you go out hard, you ride for a little bit, and then you have that finish kick. So I think with all these races, you're going to notice a pattern. Kind of a fast start, you sort of settle in for the middle rhythm, whatever that is, and then you have enough for a kick finish.
And it depends on, I mean, you've seen different, I don't know if you guys watch professional running. I love watching professional track meets, but you see different runners, and some people are fast kickers, some people are not. And if some people have to ride somebody's shoulder the whole race because they're just not good at going out in front and pulling people along. For most of us mere mortals, this type of thing is not really relevant. For most of us, we're really talking about like what is your own personal like nemesis. You're not really worried about pacing against other people. And so for us, I think a lot of it is like, how much do you know your pace and your effort levels? I think one of the things that I find, and I'm sure you're like this as well, if you put me on a track or in a race with somebody who's at the exact same fitness level that I'm at, I have an edge from having raced a lot as a kid, and I'm sure you're the same way. Getting to know your body and knowing like what the levels are. Like, okay, I actually have something in my, like when I can taste like this kind of metallic taste in my mouth when you go lactate. I know I know where my body goes after.
How long you can push at that point.
I know that, okay, if I once I taste that and on 400 meters, I'll taste it at about 300 meters, and I'm like, okay, things are gonna start shutting down real soon.
Yeah.
And that type of redlining, or whatever you want to call it, and that knowledge around yourself is really knowing yourself. It's not about anybody else. And that is for anybody. I don't care if you're doing a 12-minute mile.
It's true.
Yeah, everybody feels the same.
I think what can get really fun and enjoyable about racing is when you get into the strategy and tactics of things, when you're fit enough that you know that you're going to be able to go and go fast, and it becomes more about responding to what other people are doing in the moment.
Yep.
And there are times where you might actually go faster above your key race pace for a little while to stay with someone, and then to back up, because if you let a gap open up, it's really hard to come back from there.
And the same thing on that same note is if you are going and trying to stay with somebody because you're competing with them, that's one thing. A lot of times what people do is they'll be going at like a 85% level for that race, and they're mile 6 of a half marathon, and they are mentally trying to stay with a friend. And there's pluses and minuses with that. If the friend is pulling you along at a pace that's faster than you'd be able to maintain, great. But one of the things that people don't account for is that when somebody else is determining the pace, meaning they're the half step ahead of you, there are micro variations in their pace, and they're happening for them because of some physiological or mental reason. But for you, they're happening in response.
Yep.
And those kind of variations can really tire you out because you're constantly adjusting your pace. As imperceptible as it is, it really does affect your stride. You're cutting your stride, you're going faster, and that type of thing can wear you out.
That's interesting you say when you go into, say, a race with someone, and like you're going into that spring marathon and you're running with your training buddies, it's good to have that conversation before in terms of setting expectations. Are we planning on running this thing together all the way through, or do we want to run our own races? I mean, we had that conversation before the 50K. It's like, how do you want to crank this down? Nate
was like, I'm gonna leave your ass in the dirt, and literally that is what happened. I left my ass in the dirt, so it's cool.
You gotta make the decision, and that way it's not an issue later. But sometimes I know some of you guys might be running with some friends, and you feel bad about leaving them, and sometimes like if the expectation is like, hey, I'm gonna pace this person for the race, by all means, don't leave them when they're expecting to stay. But if that is your race, if this is literally the Boston Marathon or your version thereof, set things up so that you can get the support you need to race.
By the way, I found out a fun fact. The race that qualifies the most Boston Marathon runners is the Revel race in Las Vegas, because they have a net of like negative 5,000 feet.
Whoa!
It is basically a giant slide for 26 miles.
And it's like a sanctioned, approved marathon
This is a funny thing that I did not understand, but I always, because there are some courses that are Boston qualifiers and some that are not.
Yeah.
And I always thought that they took this into account, because the Boston is a net negative, I believe, right?
It is. So what's interesting about the Boston Marathon course, not to go too far off, is that it's not eligible for world records. Because it's a point-to-point and it's downhill.
Yep. Makes
Continue.
sense. Yeah, so on that note, the Boston Marathon does not care what the net elevation drop or gain is of a race. They only care about, like, is it actually 26.2 and you have to get it certified that way.
Yeah, sure.
So Revel races, they have all of their races are net downhill.
Yeah.
And so they get people who cruise. They had a great stat. I don't have it on me. Oh, do I have it on me? I might have the
You might have it on you.
Yeah. They had a great stat on like the average times for each of the races. I'm gonna see if I have it here.
Well, you're getting that, guys. A quick reminder.
Here it is. Got
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, just a quick reminder, guys. We are doing our giveaway that we started last week, which is 2 free entries into our Surf's Up 5K race, which is coming up.
Absolutely.
And we are going to be, we have another Gleam link, which is going to be the same thing for next week. So if you want to come in, we're really excited. The race is happening on March 31st and April 1st. We are going to do a live 30-day challenge all through the month of March. So if you sign up now, you're actually going to be able to get some free training with us to be able to join in. If you guys are already training club members, we'll mark your calendars for that Sunday, March 4th, because it's going to be a party.
Absolutely. All right,
Let's
you guys ready
continue
for this?
with our Revel Racing.
This is for the Rockies race, which I believe is June 3rd in Denver. There it is. Okay, so let me see if I can show this to you guys. Wait, I can't see what I'm doing here. There we go. And so, there we go. That is the elevation profile. How hilarious is that?
That is crazy.
And look at these. Oh, I moved my wrong finger.
I know.
I can't do this. The average finish times, I'll just read it off to you. Average finish times for the Revel Rockies is 4:12. The average finish time for the LA Marathon is 5:20. Now, that is skewed because they're not the same type of person who races those. But you can see they compare it to New York, Chicago, St. George, Colfax, like whatever. Colfax.
Yeah. How interesting that the marathon. So why do you guys choose the marathons that you do? Is it important to run a certain time? Is it proximity to your home? Is it a cool destination? Like, drop those in the comments. Like why do you guys choose the marathons you do to race? I'm just kind of super interested in that, because there are races that are really targeting different types of runners.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like the person who runs Big Sur is not trying to set a PR. The person who does Revel Racing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, setting a PR in a negative 5,000 race is kind of hilarious. I think if you want to qualify for Boston because you just want to go to Boston, great. But, what was that part of the trek where there was who was it that set a sub 4-minute mile on that one downhill?
Oh.
In Marin?
Oh. I'm not sure.
Remember we were running and there was like this crazy downhill going out into part of the 50K course?
Oh, right. Yeah, and down this like Fox Hill, and it's like
Fox Hill, that's what it is.
It's just like super steep descent, and there's a runner who's got like basically like a 4-minute mile like blasting down this hill.
Yeah. which is still impressive because going down that hill is really difficult.
This guy is already a 2:21 marathoner, so he's got some talent. Little taste.
Anyhow, I mean, you can set personal best however you want, but it's your personal best, so you do what you want to do.
I know, right? Let's see where these comments are coming in. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing too many.
Metallic taste, is the man a Terminator? Okay, you I'm sure have this as well. When you go lactic, you can actually, if you pay attention, you can taste a difference in your saliva in your mouth, because that I don't know if it's actually lactic acid. That seems not right, but you'll definitely taste the composition difference, and it is when you've really fully switched over to anabolic.
I think what happens too is like your pH, your blood pH starts to change a little bit, and literally I think what you're tasting is that acid.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. I don't actually know what it's from, but it's very familiar to me. I tasted it this morning, actually.
So a few comments here. To my question, Karina says, the one I'm doing, it's a BQ race, Boston qualifying race, and because it's my first one, you have to tell us which race that is, Karina. It'd be interesting. Heather says, I choose my races depending on my goal. Ogden half is for a PR. Slacker half and Blurch is for the theme.
Nice.
And Run Disney is just for fun. If I want an aggressive goal, I look at the course carefully.
Nice.
And time of year, is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cool? I know one of you guys were just chiming in about the Run Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Or one of the Walt Disney World marathon races.
Somebody had asked about their half marathon today. So she said, when do you consider time is to run a full marathon after you've run your first half? It's a big step. That's right, because it is double the miles. And she said she ran in 1:48:09. So
that's great.
So what 1:48 is a great time. That for your first half, it's excellent. It means that you are keeping somewhat of a consistent pace. I'd imagine, even if you fall off a little bit.
You're not messing around.
Yeah. So if you can run a 1:48 half, then I hesitate to say you're ready to do a marathon, because ready to do a marathon has more to do with, are you ready to do the training?
Yeah.
And because if you ran 1:48, you could probably, in the same, if let's say that was last weekend, in 3 or 4 weeks from now without too much trouble, could you finish a full marathon?
Could you limp your way through?
Sure, you could. But can you prepare yourself properly for a marathon, which means you're going to do multiple runs over 15 miles over the course of,
This is interesting, and it's why a lot of, elite runners, and I don't like to compare elite runners to everyone else, just because there are some things that are different. But what's interesting here is that they run for years, a long time before they even attempt a marathon. And they're doing high mileage stuff. They could do the marathon earlier, but just the demands of the marathon is such that those guys are afraid of it.
Yeah.
Now, we don't want you to be afraid of the marathon, but what Craig is really saying is when we sign up for something like that, there is some homework that we need to sign up for too. And it can just beat the snot out of you. And it can be super fun, and we want you guys to do it, but our job as the coaches is to,
temper a little bit.
You guys want to stay out till 3 a.m. We're trying to get you in bed before midnight, lights off.
So you're saying that I just want to, so when Nate says the professional athletes are scared of it, really what it is that when you're a professional athlete, you can only really have an A race, if it's a long distance race, a few times a year. If it's a marathon, you don't see people going out, and doing a marathon every month, even though they get paid for it when they do it. So the reason is you only have a couple shots of that, and it really hammers your training. So now, we're all normal runners, and if you want to go out and do 12 marathons a year or 15 marathons a year, you can do it. You're not going to be at your best for every marathon, as you probably know, and you have to kind of build that into your training. But really, if it's your first half marathon, what I would imagine you're probably lacking is a base of mileage. Right. And our kind of general term of saying, hey, are you ready for the marathon, is, have you been running consistently for a year?
Right.
And that is a catch-all that does not apply to everybody, because some people, they played soccer 2 hours a day for 10 years. They're going to be a lot more prepared, to take on that sort of beating, because they've already they already have a lot of the things like bone density from that sort of impact. But, I've seen people who are in great shape really, really great shape who are swimmers who don't have any of the biomechanics, musculature to take out that impact, and they get injured just like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a fitness level thing. It's a matter of like how slowly and have you accumulated those mileage, that base of mileage, and I would say that, don't be in a rush.
Yeah.
Do more half marathons. Don't you just go one half marathon. Do more. They're fun. There's a great distance.
Yeah, it really is. I'm actually want to do that. Like, so one of the things that I want to do after training for basically doing like 2 or 3 marathons the last 2 years between the North Face marathon, the North Face 50K, Boston. Basically running a marathon and training, and then doing Boston. I've basically done 4 like full marathon distance runs in the last 2 years. I want to like.
These guys are all laughing. I think I did that last month.
I know those guys are like easy day. I want to like spend some time this spring or the first half of the year like doing runs where my longest run is 90 minutes and just trying to get my speed up and have some fun there. I'm a little inspired to go down that way, not feel like I'm slogging all the time. And that's a nice thing to do, guys. Especially if you're that person who feels like you're stuck in a little bit of a training plateau, is to do the things that you're not currently doing. So if you feel like you're doing a lot of long runs and you're kind of owning that, spend some time doing the 3K, doing the 5K. I think that could be really good.
There are 2 things I want to earmark to talk about.
Yes.
1, I want to talk about my fast.
Oh yeah, we can talk about your fast.
2, I fasted. And then 2, I want to talk about our idea a little bit about getting people's profile a little bit, where they're from, so we can start grouping people together and see what people think about that.
Let's do it.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. You tell me when. You're in charge. I'm no longer in charge of the agenda. I got kicked off of that. It's okay. It happens. What can you do?
Oh my God. What
the
can
Baltimore
you do?
Marathon, the first 3 miles are uphill. That's brutal. Who I talked to last week was the lady from the Vermont Marathon that has like the craziest elevation ever, Molly.
Yeah.
Remember we met her? Yeah, she has this marathon. It was like 10,000 or 11,000 feet of elevation. It was like the steepest marathon or something.
Oh,
it was crazy. Yeah.
That is big. That is a lot of elevation.
We'll leave that for somebody else.
We'll leave that for someone else. Exactly. So, you wanted to. What did you want to talk about?
Oh yeah. So okay.
Let's go in.
Permission? Okay,
Let's do it.
I got permission.
He got
So
permission.
first of all, last year I tried a fast mimicking diet.
And guys, we always have a Craig's Crazy Kitchen portion of the show. This is lack of kitchen. This is Craig's Crazy Travel on the go.
So
continue.
I've toyed with different versions because fasting has many benefits if you were to believe the common nutrition lore of current, which is always about 50% right. And so what people are saying now is that there are different. One thing I like about fasting as a concept is that it's one of the things that's been around for a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah, so it's been around for a long time, but like as you're kind of saying, things become in vogue. So this
right. So it's come back in vogue, but like for millennia, people have done this as part of religions and those types of things.
Or because they didn't have Whole Foods. They didn't have food. So we're like physiologically, some people argue that we are like hormonally, physiologically adapted to fasting, where we like eat big meals and we go long times without it. And basically what people are saying is to restructure some of this fasting back into our lifestyle, and we are healthier for it. And that when we have all the food we want at our disposal, that doesn't make us better.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting I tried last year, and intermittent fasting, in the version that I did, there were many different versions. I was doing it where I would eat from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. So it's an 8-hour window. So I'd have a late lunch, I'd have a dinner, pretty much late lunch and a dinner. Yeah. I would probably eat 3 times realistically, but it'd be in a very short amount of time. So each time I would eat.
So just an 8-hour window. So it basically means that 16 hours you're not eating.
And I wasn't trying to calorically restrict myself. That was not the goal. Yeah. I mean, whether that happened just because I wasn't hungry enough to take enough, that may have happened a little bit, but that was definitely not the goal. I would not eat from 10 p.m. all the way through the next morning, Because like that, actually, I don't think I've eaten
Was that an
anything today.
adjustment? Was it hard?
Not
early
really,
on?
because I always work out in the morning without having eaten, not because of anything, just I'm busy. And then, you know, once we get started working, if I don't get my smoothie, the green smoothie, you'll notice is lacking today. If I don't have that smoothie, a lot of times it'll hit lunchtime and I haven't. I'm not recommending this.
This guy is so focused. If you were to, you know, do like a screen lapse, like a time lapse of our office, I am probably like just moving around all the time. Nora moves around, and Craig is just like locked in and loaded. Like I have to remind him to like drink water, to like do this stuff. Like I have to feed Nora, and then I have to feed Craig. Like, I have to make sure he like gets his meals in and everything.
Yeah, I need to get walked soon too. Now, actually, our Monday meetings now are.
I actually do.
Yes,
to get you outside.
He's going to get you outside a little bit. It's starting to look white and pasty. So. Last week, last year, I tried the intermittent fasting. That actually worked fairly well. I didn't really know what the benefit, like theoretically, hormonally, you know, I don't know if I wasn't necessarily
already
losing weight.
intermittent fasting without you thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I think for certain people,
like I really haven't had a meal since last. Actually, I haven't had a meal since like.
Do you have any you eaten this morning?
I have not yet.
I got you a glass of water earlier.
Did you?
Had a drink.
No.
Remember when we were downstairs?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. You did. So. I was just very busy this morning. This live show, it takes a lot of stuff to put this on, just by the way. It is not easy.
Yeah.
And so, intermittent fasting, okay, cool. As a lifestyle, I found it difficult because every day you're going through this period where you're hungry from like 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, there's like that where you got to soldier through.
So I could do it in and out. It's not. I did it today.
It is possible to do. You can run and train with this, guys. It's people do it, and we may not be 100% the best resources, but we can certainly point you in the right direction.
There are a bunch of people on YouTube actually talk about this. I was watching it.
But fast forward to this fast you just did, which was
there's one more step. I did the 5-day fast, and I failed at that.
Oh, that's right. So you tried the 5-day fast.
The 5-day fast was not a full fast. You ate like 300 calories, and it was very specific what the makeup of the calories were. You can look it up. It's called a fast mimicking diet. There are apparently all these brain and immunoresponse benefits to fasting in this way. And it was supposed to be easier than a long fast because you were eating things. I found it horrendously horrible. I was sitting up at night watching YouTube videos of people making food because I was hungry and I was watching the food like was satiating in some way. Yeah. After 3.5 days, I was like, I couldn't work anymore. I'm like, screw it, I'm out.
Yeah, that is just really, really long.
It all came back from, like, there was a company that was wanting us to review this, and so like, okay, I'll try it. And I was like, you guys never heard about it because I never did it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that was one try, failed completely. Then another company contacted us, this company called Human, and they, hvmn.com, and they have a new, like, they have some nootropics, and they're here in town, smart guys. They met you.
Yep.
I talked to one of them on the phone, and the guy was telling me he's doing a bunch of triathlon stuff, and he fasts every Monday. So he fasts from 8 p.m. on Sunday evening until 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning.
Wow.
So it's 36 hours. So anyhow, I was in Austin, and like Texas has great food, but also very unhealthy food, and I was just kind of feeling like, oh, I was bored. And I was busy, and I was like, you know what? This would be a great time to do a fast.
Of course.
So one day I was eating a whole bunch. I ate like 4 meals that day because I kept having meetings with their meals. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to do this tomorrow. And so I did it. I did the 36-hour fast, and it was not that bad at all.
Incredible. And you didn't have to do any supplemental things? Like, what was your last meal? What did you eat? Was it good barbecue?
No.
So you had that like rib sticking,
it was like
satisfying.
It was like late night, like food from a bar because people were drinking and wanted to hang out more.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, work drinks that just lasted too long.
Totally.
And so it was interesting. I'm gonna keep trying this. I'm gonna keep trying doing it and seeing like what the effect is.
I like the idea of like occasionally every once in a while doing that.
I think
a little
the fast
system
is
reset.
like there's so many benefits that they talk about, but like. It's also the easiest version of doing any of this because you don't have to prepare your food. You're just kind of like, all right, on Monday, I'm just not going to eat.
Yeah.
You actually have a fair amount of time that you gain back.
Yeah.
So
that's super. You know, that's super interesting. I mean, how many of you guys like feel this way? Like I used to be this way when I was younger, more of an athlete. Like I would be, especially if I was traveling, I would be like worried and nervous about being hungry and where my next meal is coming from, which is so laughable because like on the, like in an airplane, on like an airport, like there's so few times when you're truly without anything. Now granted, you may not always have your first choice, but it's not like you're literally going to starve. And I think what's interesting about getting comfortable with this is it just kind of gives you some freedom. You're like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not going to starve.
And you know what the feeling is. I mean, they talk about going into ketosis after about 24 hours, and you kind of start to understand what the feelings of hunger actually are. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm starving. And you haven't eaten in like 3 hours.
So this is a good question. It's a good follow-up. Tanny asks, did your running improve while fasting?
I didn't run during the period.
No, you weren't doing it, but in general, people do see some improvement in their running. More from their ability to tap into different energy stores. You know, especially for longer runs and races. And the reason why that human
see if we can bring them
I know. They have this supplement. I'm trying to remember what it's called. So basically, they're trying to
ketones.
There's something called exogenous ketones that's supposed to kickstart the body to get into a fasted state where their body is basically burning fat as opposed to carbohydrate for a source. And they can measure your ketones. And some of these guys who really geek out on this will measure their blood levels and they'll see what they're at. And basically, this supplement could get you into that peak fasted state that sometimes takes people a couple days to get into. And it can kind of trigger that process a little bit more quickly. And in theory, if you're doing this, all of a sudden you're able to tap into your fat stores a lot better. You don't have to eat as much to perform at the same level, especially for longer runs and races, which basically means you're cutting down on, you know, blood sugar, like roller coaster and the crashes, and like your gut rebelling on you. So there are a lot of benefits to this. And of course, from a weight loss standpoint, like you can, you know, tap into those stores a little bit better as well. So he's pulling this up on the screen so you guys can see it.
Unfortunately.
I know, you have squished us a little bit.
Let's see if I can get us back.
So I did ask, so David chimed in earlier about the 5-2 diet.
What is that?
And so he said the 5-2 diet involves eating normally for 5 days a week, then restricting your calorie intake to 500-600 calories in the other 2 days.
I'll tell you, I've done the 500 calorie restriction. For me, it is way harder to eat 500 calories and stop eating than just to be like, I'm not eating lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
It's mentally, I found it way more difficult. But
you know, what I think is cool though is that there are different approaches. Everyone's trying to go after the same sort of thing, just from slightly different angles.
Anyhow, this is the company Human. They have this. They're the first people to have this like this type of ketone. Everything else that is ketones is like these salts. And I talked to the founder about it. It's interesting. It's expensive. This is going to be like $30 a bottle. Yeah. So it's basically meant for like game day and long run day.
Yep. Yeah, it is expensive. You don't want to use it a ton.
I am looking forward to trying it out. It's an interesting idea. Yeah. Apparently, it's something that you can feel immediately.
Yeah.
So
we're just learning about these guys. We haven't tried this yet, guys. We're definitely no affiliation with them other than they just gonna check this out. Yeah. Joy says, I've read that extended fasting is easy if your body's already in a ketogenic state. The extended fasting gets you into the ketogenic state, and that's why you have to get over that initial hump. And when it's new,
the 36 hours was, I woke up the next morning.
But that's because like you've done this before, and in your body and lifestyle, like you're used to going extended periods without eating. Like I'm trying to remember my earlier self when I would wake up hungry and have to eat breakfast, and the idea of waking up and not eating anything till 10 or noon
was torturous.
Seems impossible. And regularly now, like, you know, my wife and I were up at like 4:30, and I work out, and then I don't eat until 8:30. So we regularly go probably a solid, we usually eat at like, let's say between 6 and 7 at night. And then I won't eat again until 8:30 or 9 the next morning. So we're already going like 13 hours without food.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that I can work out,
but I used to not be able to do that. Right?
It doesn't bother me at all. I've always done that.
You've always had that
for the last
time.
15 years or
so. Let me see here. Taney asks, got my second half marathon in March, going for a sub this time. Maybe a sub, some like faster time or something like that. Sub 2 hour.
You're getting somebody to sub in for you so you don't have to run it?
I'm getting a sub. Thanks for the good advice.
I'm getting a sub. Somebody else is running, but I'm just getting the medal.
I know. I totally love it.
By the way, guys, speaking of medal, sign up for this Surfs Up 5K. Have you sent the email out yet?
I haven't sent it out yet, but it's going out this afternoon.
That means that you guys, this is the first opportunity. We just started opening up about a day and a half ago, and we have not even sent out. If you are on our email list, is that
yes.
If you're on our email list, which you should be, then we are going to be giving you an opportunity to sign up for
a little bit off the top.
Yeah, like a 15% off or something like that.
Yep.
For the next few days, and then it'll be $29. But guys, this is we got a really cool medal made by this guy right here. He hand chiseled and carved it himself with his teeth.
I did. Nora and I did. I taught Nora how to,
But it's a really cool medal. And more than that, you get training.
I know. Super fun. So we're excited. So guys, remember, we are doing our giveaway, which we started last week, which is 2 entries into our Surfs Up race. That's going to happen in about 10 minutes. And then enter in for next week's giveaway right now. And if you're watching the recording this later, you still have the opportunity to enter in, and we're going to draw another 2 entries next week. So lucky you guys. We're really excited to kick this Surfs Up off.
Sounds great.
Surfs Up off.
Surfs Up
off.
Surfs Up.
That sounds like a weird kind of combo there. So what did I want to do? I wanted to have, okay, have you guys ever seen mean tweets before? So it's like, we're big enough now that a lot of you guys really, and we are so honored and humbled that you guys watch us each and every week, and you tune in our videos, and you're generally supportive. But we get the snarky comments too.
We
right?
definitely get our share, and kudos to the rest of our team who fronts a lot of it. So
oh my God, we are like shielded and don't have to see it. But I wanted to like kind of find some of them because...
Oh, I just saw some. It's regrettable that this channel... I saw one right there.
Oh, yeah. There was one, there was something like...
Here, keep going.
There's one that's some videos that I wanted to see.
What's it? Oh, just to go to YouTube comments? I mean, I can bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, bring it up. But I wanted to like find some videos to show you because we had some zingers last week. It was pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
People get YouTube for some reason is the place where
I do like that is really the only place on social media that you can thumbs down something. Like no other channel.
That's true.
They're like the first ones to have that, but no one else does a thumbs down. Like you can't dislike an Instagram
post. Let's see what we got
or
here.
A Facebook post.
I guess I have to scroll over here.
There's some videos from last week that I wanted to try and pull up because...
You look like Bronn from Game of Thrones. I saw that one come in.
I thought that was pretty good. There's one... I don't even know who Bronn is.
Is that you?
I don't know.
I don't know what video that's on. How do you find... Oh, on Open Up Your Stride, that is you. You look like Bronn from Game of Thrones. Let's see. Oh, we can show more. Look, there's so many of these guys.
I know. Let me see.
There are some weird comments in here.
Okay, one guy wrote, Young Savage, on our deadlift video last week. This guy goes on rambling for ages. Next time, just get to information out quicker. And then another guy chimed in, LOL, windbag he is. It's almost like Yoda. Windbag is he.
Windbag he is.
Oh my God.
Not to mention they don't
really reply to comments. False. Phil Klepka. We do reply to comments.
Reply to that.
Views are low compared to subs too. A lot of repeat information, just worded different.
That's funny.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
man.
that. I saw the same thing right at the beginning of the video when I saw the video was 17 minutes. Hey, we wanted to go for a deeper dive and some different looks.
Look at Holly's nice comment to that person.
Oh, no, that was me. I wrote that. I just killed with kindness. Hey, guys, we definitely work hard to reply to comments. We don't always get to it immediately, however.
And then you know who comes in? He comes in, swoops in for the kill shot.
is someone who shall not. Yes. I know.
Okay, we can't
say.
Oh man.
I know.
Darn it.
It's so good. But anyway, there's some really fun ones. Anita says, "Hey, love listening to you guys. But when you throw an advert in, I'm switching off."
Oh, that's too bad because sometimes we have to throw adverts in because we have to eat.
I know, we do have to eat, and hopefully they're not too bad. Yeah. So anyway, those were some, in mean tweet inspired YouTube comments we saw from last week.
Rest assured, guys, when you put stuff on the internet, you're always gonna get a fraction of people that are just taking out their anxiety on,
I know, exactly.
on their
I'm like,
keyboard.
is this about us? Is it about you? What do you have? I just want to give them a hug. Like, what's going on? Running Geek Girl says YouTube is the snark capital of the world.
Oh my God.
I love that.
Guys, feel free to jump in and snark them back in comments. I love it when that happens.
I know,
I love
let's
seeing
just get a little
Snark Fest. In fact,
Snark Fest.
I will pin those threads. If you do that, I will pin that to the top of the YouTube video.
Heather says, you guys inspire my channel, so thank you, of course.
What is Heather's channel?
Heather, yeah, what is you? I remember you kind of saying before, is it just Heather Jurgensen? We'd love to, give you a little shout out there.
And the FOD Runner. Who is the FOD Runner?
Same thing, late to the party tonight. What's up, guys?
Let's check out the FOD Runner.
We'll check you out as well.
Can you click on them? Is that how that works?
I think you can.
I gotta look them up. The FOD Runner.
Aaron says, call those clowns out, Nate and Craig. Hey, we are 5 minutes away from our little giveaway, so if you are jumping in, go ahead and do it.
Look at this.
But right now, we are looking at the FOD Runner.
Cool, FOD Runner. You are putting up some cool content.
Definitely. Hey guys, let's go give the FOD Runner a little love. Go check him out and subscribe to his channel. Looks like he's getting some good...
I'm a runner based in the Forest of Dean, I can't say that. Gloucestershire, UK, and love capturing my races, training runs, and holidays on film. Awesome.
What's the FOD Runner stand for? You got to tell us.
That is pretty cool. If you are interested in talking to us more, I haven't watched any of your videos yet, but we'll I'll dig in. And what was Heather's channel? What's her name? Heather.
I think it's just her channel, Heather Jurgensen.
Jurgensen, not Jurgensen. Jurgensen, right?
Well, it might be Jurgensen. I mean, if it's like a
That's
Norwegish thing.
That's true.
They don't say Jan, they say Jan, dude. I mean, I know that. I know that. Gosh.
I don't know if I spelled this right. Over 1,000 subscribers, Heather. Excellent job.
Oh, this is cool. Katie Little says, I found you guys because of Heather's channel, so she definitely deserves a shout out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We love that. I don't know what just happened.
That is okay because it's an intro.
Oh yeah.
So Heather Jurgensen, it's JERGNSEN, has over 1,000 subscribers. No slouch. That is amazing.
That is hard work. And she's like super consistent in her posting. Like, Heather, great job. Like, we know how hard it is to put out videos all the time.
1 day, 3 days. Yeah, totally. She's doing like 3 a week. And she's definitely going into things like
holiday gift guide, TRE suspension trainer review.
I like this.
Race reports. Oh, these are great.
Cool. Heather, chime in and tell us, like, what is your goal with your channel? Like, what do you want to do with it eventually? Is it just kind of an outlet for some of your creative stuff? We love seeing stuff like this. This is pretty cool.
Oh, this is great. Tone says, already subscribed to @Heather Jurgensen and @FOD Runner.
Awesome.
Bam. That is super cool. Well, nice work, guys. Really, really good. Oh, you guys are great. Carrie says, hey, guys. True runners love your channel. It's the wannabes. They can't handle it. Thanks for the great show. I've been driving, so I couldn't comment, but it's always awesome show. Thanks, Carrie.
All right, FOD, I am subscribing to you as well. There you go.
We do appreciate that, and we try to get to you.
FOD.
It is Forest of Dean. Forest of Dean. Guys, he's 500 on the nose. Let's see if we can get him up.
I was number 500. We were number 500.
We were number 500. Yeah. I love that. Oh, cool. Troy says, me too. I subscribed. That is awesome.
Gotcha. You guys are both beating my personal channel. I only have 230 subscribers.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
I'm working on it.
You are working on it.
Yeah.
So, guys, before we go, and before we do our drawing in like 2 minutes, just drop below like any video requests, right? Like, you guys are like the core of who we make our videos for, right? Yeah. Like, when we think about the videos we make, like, we of course sometimes want to draw a broader audience in, but we know that like we got to start with you, because if you guys don't like our content or don't care about it, like, we are missing the mark. And we like to give you guys opportunities to put requests in. So like, literally, like, put these out. Like, I will write them down in my YouTube planning book, and these are videos that you can expect from us.
Awesome. Sounds good.
So throw that down there as we're finishing up. If you guys want to think about it.
And the one thing I wanted to ask about, because so one of the things that Nate and I were talking about after being out of town together for a little bit was how can we facilitate, because what we think of as like, what do? We provide good training for you guys as a resource, and we try to provide a community because, we have communities of runners, offline in your local communities and through your running stores and stuff like that, and running groups. But we try to provide community, which is what the show is about. It's what our, Facebook pages are about. It's what our training club is about. And what we would like is to help facilitate more of that, where you guys can meet each other, and one of the things that we struggle with is that we have lots of people who are on our newsletter.
Yep.
Lots of people who are on our YouTube, but we don't really know where you guys are. Like, we know when you sign on and tell us, but we can't say, hey, let's do an event for all the people in New York when we're in New York, or when we're in Boston, or when we visit the UK or Cape Town, whatever it is. Let's throw an event, and we have to kind of send a message to everybody.
Yep.
And we'd also like to help facilitate so that you guys can meet each other and go to races together. Or the new one is, we have a lot of races that want to work with us. And so one of the kind of leverage points we have is to ask them for free entries and say, hey, we want to field a TRE team for this Ragnar relay, or for this marathon. And then we would love to be able to hand that out to you. But we don't know where you guys are. And so what we were thinking about doing is creating a runner profile, we're calling it right now.
Oh, right. I was like, I'm not sure which direction you're going in with this.
Yeah. So we're thinking about like, hey, like, have everybody kind of fill out information. You have your Facebook page, whatever, and we just have like a small amount of information about, what kind of shoes you like to wear, what your zip code is, not any personal information that's like that. And that way we can kind of,
we want to, because we have so many different types of runners on our channel, from guys who want track stuff to those who want to qualify for the Boston Marathon, for those who are beginner. We're always looking for better ways to get the right content to you guys, to be the most helpful, and then to connect you with other runners who are in a similar place. And that could be everything from, connecting those of you guys who are all racing the same marathon this spring, to other things. So, there's some cool opportunity, and, sort of let us know. Let me see here.
And we need the podcast. Yes.
I know.
Oh, God. Okay. I will put that on the list. It's actually not that hard for us to do that. It really isn't.
It really isn't.
It's just exporting the, I don't know. We might have to up our game a little bit in terms of the audio, because I don't know how clear this audio would be if you were just listening to it.
Yeah,
but
I think it might be okay.
Yeah,
but we shall see.
And how entertaining are we to just listen to it? Maybe.
I know.
What would you do if you couldn't see our? You know what? I like the fact that you guys see us.
I do too. I think it's sweet.
I don't want to be represented just by my voice.
You do have a good voice, though. You're like deep and like baritone.
Projection.
I know.
I work on it every morning. Do my diaphragmatic exercises.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I do not. Guys, it is 1 o'clock. We need to get out of here, and we need to get here, and we need to do our sub. I've already run the winners. So our two winners.
Always jump on there, and you've already done it.
Already in it. So our 2 winners who signed up from last week's show.
Awesome.
For the Surfs Up Virtual 5K and a free month of the training club is Elsa Nakasone from Mililani Town, Hawaii.
Both these
names are really awesome. So Hawaii, what's up? And Brenda Bloom. I feel like Brenda Bloom could be out of like a Harry Potter book.
Yeah, totally.
And like not like such a great name. Like that's such a cool name, like Brenda Bloom. And from Ashburn, Virginia. Both of you guys, congratulations, have a free entry.
And I want to remind you guys that we, at this point, if you sign on every week and you enter these contests every week, it is extremely probable that you will win one this year.
Yes.
I've noticed that, like, with the number of entries we have, pretty much everybody's going to be a winner soon.
I know, pretty much everyone is.
So I'm excited about that. So keep signing on. We will be sending you something or giving you something free shortly. And I don't know, did anybody say anything about the profile?
We've gotten some requests around
the
podcast.
All right,
and just on different content and everything. Karina wanted good stretches for legs. Tony says it would be nice to have prepared some questions from the community and go through all of them by theme. It's not a bad idea. We can definitely work on that. And what else here? Podcast. And t-shirts. I know. When we want to do more gear. We just did a bunch of hats. I think we've basically sold out of all of them, which is crazy. Yeah. We only have like a handful left, and we're gonna do more. So we are. We don't honestly do it because we're like, who would want to wear our stuff? But what's amazing is like a lot of you guys want to represent, and
we love it.
We
really
just love
do.
it. So we want to give you guys
a
more
lot of it is that I'm
opportunity, for sure.
scared that I'll have random t-shirts hanging out, you know, because we always end up with like 3 extra small women's or whatever. And where do you think that those end up?
His place. Nor needs shirts too. But anyway, guys, it is 1:02. We are signing off. Thank you again so much.
But just don't wait for it. We have an outro. Hold on.
All right.
I'm going to change.
Do our outro.
Next week, the outro is going to be a little bit different.
So, signing off, outro, cool, fun special effects happening. Here we go.